Yeah, I've got you, Ivan. Well, welcome back, everybody, to Circuit Ricardo Tormo here in Spain for the finals races of the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. It's the NASCAR Pro Division that is coming up shortly for their penultimate race of the season. Their final race will come later on this afternoon. Well, I say it's the finals meeting, which means we're now heading towards the conclusion of our Valencia Super Speed Week. The finals meeting now means that the race is coming up today. This race and the race later on are double championship points. So the championship is still wide open at the moment. A number of drivers mathematically could still win it, and if it's anything like the EuroNASCAR 2 race that we had earlier on today, it went down to the very final race, and Vittorio Garelli, having had disappointment yesterday with retirement and lost the lead of the championship, did enough to claim the win. His 5th of the season, his 6th of his career, and came through to grab the championship spoils as well. So it's still breezy here. We've still got the sunshine at this part of Spain, at this fantastic circuit. Let's just have a look at the circuit map if you're not familiar with it. If it's the first time you're joining us over the course of this weekend, thank you for doing so. The circuit itself was built in 1999 with help from the government of Valencia, and it is 4 kilometres long, just over 4 kilometres long. That means that it is just under 2.5 miles. And the circuit map, if we can bring it up on the screen, will show you that there's a big long straight. 650 metres is the start-finish straight, which means the cars, that is the only point of the track where they get up into 4th gear. The rest of the circuit is all done largely in 2nd and 3rd gear. Circuit map not coming up, I'm afraid. I was expecting the circuit map to come up on the screen, but it's not appeared. So 14 corners for the drivers to deal with. There it is. So there we go. So the big long straight, that's 4th gear. Everything else, all the other corners are 2nd and 3rd gear. Sweeping sections to it. There is good overtaking opportunities as well. It might take you a couple of corners to get it done and dusted, but you can go side by side around the track, such as the width of it. So that gives you an idea as to what the circuit is like, named in honour of Ricardo Tormo, who was a motorcycle world champion. He was a native of Valencia as well, and his promising career was cut short by a pretty horrific testing accident in 1984, and then he battled leukemia, which forced his retirement really. He succumbed to the disease really sadly a year before the circuit opened, so Ricardo never actually got to see the circuit that is now named in his honour. So the EuroNASCAR Pro Division cars in the pit lane with their noses out, ready to head around the circuit. We will guide you through the grid and tell you a little bit about what's happened over the course of this weekend in a few moments. But before that, I just want to show you what the championship points look like, because, as I say, the championship is still very much up for grabs. Alan Day leads the championship on 285 points. He is 14 points ahead of Lasse Sorensen. Well, that is actually the same gap between the pair of them as there was at the beginning of the weekend. We've had already 2 races for the EuroNASCAR Pro Division, with Lasse Sorensen winning the first race, Alan Day finishing 6th, and in the second race, Alan Day won that one, Lasse Sorensen finished 6th. So the points haven't budged really in terms of the gaps. So Alan Day leads the championship by 14 points from Lasse Sorensen, who is the leading junior driver that we have in the championship. Junior drivers are for those aged under 25 that are in the championship. And Loris Hazeman's the outgoing champion, is still mathematically more than capable of claiming a championship, as he sits there 27 points adrift of the championship leader in 3rd position. Gianmarco Ercoli isn't that far away either, the Roman. And Stinos Longines is only 41 points adrift, with Mark Goossens just 45 points adrift. Remember, 80 points for a race win we've got 2 races, so there's still 160 points available in the championship at this stage. So any one of those in the top 14, mathematically, could still have half a chance. The leading challenger driver that we've got in the championship, challenger drivers are amateur drivers that enter EuroNASCAR Pro. You can see it's the Swiss driver there in 11th position, 92 points off the lead, Mauro Trioni. So it's all still to play for in this one. The cars will be heading out onto circuit very, very shortly for what is scheduled to be an 18-lap race. 18 laps equates to just under 73 kilometres, 72.9 kilometres, and we will be hopefully getting some reaction from some of the drivers down there with Andre on the grid. Don't forget, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So just go to youtube.com/EuroNASCAR/EuroNASCAR. That is our YouTube channel. And if you click on the links there, make sure that you subscribe in the particular areas so that you are notified when additional content is made available on youtube.com/EuroNASCAR. Now, the grid for this race is as per the qualifying times that were posted in the qualification session yesterday. And it was Alain Day, the already 2-time champion and championship leader, that popped in the quickest time in qualifying by only a tenth of a second, though, from Loris Hasemans. There was just 0.130 of a second that separated that car there, the pole-sitting car, number 24, in the hands of the 29-year-old Israeli. Double former champion. Alain Day won the championship in 2017, and the year later claimed it again, 2018, a back-to-back champion. Alain Day, he is already the most successful driver we've had in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series in terms of wins as well. 23 career wins now, and it's that car that's going to line up alongside him on the outside of the front row of the grid, the number 50 car in the hands of the 2019 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR Pro champion, Loris Hasemans. So it's 2 very quick drivers on the front row of the grid. Will guide you fully through the grid once all of the cars have completed their exploration lap out around the circuit to then line up on the start-finish line. Yeah, so 23 career wins now for Alain Day. The win that he took in the second of the 2 races, round 8 of the championship, sees him now move 1 race win ahead of Ander Villarino, who was top of the all-time winners list on 22, jointly with Alain Day. But yeah, 23 now for Alain Day. Should have mentioned earlier on as well, a very happy birthday to Sierra Esteban, who is racing in the EuroNASCAR 2 race. She's celebrating her birthday today. And I think we've also got somebody celebrating their birthday tomorrow, I think it is. I think it's Lassie Sorensen's birthday tomorrow. He'll be driving the number 66 DF1 Racing Chevrolet. He was a race winner in the first of the races that we had over the course of the weekend, but the number 66 car really didn't hook it up in qualifying. Only 11th quickest for that car there. So the reigning, or outgoing, I ought to say, EuroNASCAR 2 champion, Lassie Sorensen, he claimed that championship last year, has got work to do from 11th position on the grid, but plenty of time in which to do it over the course of the 18 laps. So the cars threading their way around, ready to line up on the grid. It's a Chevy and a Ford front row of the grid, a Chevy and a Ford second row of the grid, it's a Chevy and a Ford third row of the grid, a Ford and a Chevy fourth row, and a Ford and a Chevy fifth row. So by far the most populous body shape is the Chevy this weekend. There's only 5 Fords, but Fords in all of the sessions really have been towards the sharp end, I would say, of the grid. Still see how blustery it is, rather chilly as well, with everybody wrapped up in the autumnal Mediterranean sunshine. Alain Day brings the car onto the pole position, being run this year by PK Carsport. Alan switching teams over the course of the winter. His previous championships were secured with Cal Racing, where he was a long-time driver for that team, but he made the move over to Anthony Kumpen's team over the course of the winter. And the Monster Energy-backed driver has certainly been right at the sharp end all season. That's the Hendricks Ford of Loris Hasemans that lines up alongside him. So Loris is the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion. Is he able to make it a back-to-back championship? Well, he lies third in the standings coming into this race, 27 points off the leader. So there is work to be done, and what you do need to do is stay out of trouble in these double points races. If you end up mixed up with something and drop down through the order, or even retire early on in the race, that really does undo all of the hard work that you might have done in Italy at Vallelunga, at Belgium, at Zolder where we were there, and at Croatia, which is where we were last time out, a new circuit on the calendar, at Grobnik. So cars are lining up on the grid. I'm going to hand you down to the grid, which is where Andre is.
We're here with Giorgio Maggi, driving the number 18 of Hendrix Motorsports. And Giorgio, this is your first EuroNASCAR Pro year and the last race. So what is your goal today?
Well, obviously we want to win the race, as always the goal. But it's going to be tough. We had some up and down this weekend. And we've been struggling with setup-wise, finding something that works, finding something that doesn't work. At the moment it seems very good. So yeah, focus to the front.
All right then, good luck and have a good race. Back to Mark.
Thanks a lot. Yep, so good to hear from Giorgio Maggi. He'll be hoping for good things in this one. I would say, by his standards, he's maybe had a bit of a disappointing season, really, as Giorgio Maggi, 10th in the championship standings coming in.
Hey, Anna, can we have you for a short interview for the live stream?
In the junior category.
I'll bring the cameraman.
And then I think I can hear Andre in the background, who is gearing up an interview with another driver, potentially. So we hopefully should be able to get a chat with at least one or maybe two other drivers. And I think I could briefly hear that it might be Ander Villarino that he's queuing up to have a chat with, the 3 times former champion, 22 career wins for Ander Villarino. He is a Spaniard, so it's his home event in that respect, and he is making his first outing of the season, so he will be non-championship point scoring this weekend, driving the number 48 car for DF1 Marco Steep Motorsport. So yeah, I think we can hand back downstairs to Andre, who's ready to chat to Ander Villarino.
Hero Ander Villarino, and yeah, you were not able to drive the full season, but this is the last race of the season on your home track. What are you expecting?
Well, it's been a difficult weekend for us. We've had several problems with the engine and some parts of the car. So hopefully I can do the race. We've got the rear axle a little bit with a problem. But anyway, happy to be here, happy to be with DF1 Racing and Marco Steep Motorsport. Hopefully I can come back next year with DF1 Racing and make a good full season.
All right, thank you very much and good luck.
Good to hear from Ander Villarino, the man from Hondarribia in Spain, 41 years of age now, and as we say, a 3 times champion. Won the championship back in 2012, 2013. He was runner-up in 14 and claims it again in 2015. He was also Spanish Formula 3 champion, what the best part of nearly, I can't believe it, nearly 20 years ago that was now, where he was a Spanish Formula 3 champion. And his single-seater career, because that was like his original focus was in that direction, got him towards World Series by Renault, or World Series by Nissan, as it was probably badged at the time that he was competing in it. But clearly there's still some mechanical concerns with that car as far as Ander Villarino and the team are concerned. The back axle he was talking about still is maybe a cause for concern. That's number 7. That's Olivier Hart, another non-championship scoring driver, because he's making his debut this weekend. So if you are making your first outing of the season this weekend, you do not score championship points. You are ignored for the purposes of the championship point scoring. So the drivers behind, in theory, then all move up a place. At 21 years of age, he's a Dutchman. Did a bit of TCR Benelux. We've seen him in European GT4 as well in the past, Olivier Hart, and he's also been a podium finisher at Bathurst in the 12 hours. Very much from racing stock as well. His father David raced in FIA GTs. He did Spa 24 hour, raced at Le Mans as well. Did David Hart. So Olivier, hopefully not a one-off outing for Hendrix Motorsport this weekend. Hopefully it might be consideration for a full campaign in 2021. We'll stay silent whilst it's time to observe the national anthems. the national anthem of the United States of America, followed by the national anthem of our host country, Spain, for this penultimate race of the 2020 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, part of this Valencia Super Speed Week. It's quite amazing, isn't it, that we should have been here having the first rounds of the championship in April, and with all of the changes and all of the adaptations that everybody's had to make throughout this unusual period of time that globally we're all heading through, we have slotted in Ricardo Tormo not just as the final championship rounds, but also latched onto the back of that the finals as well, so the double points paying finals. So rather than it be just 4 races per driver over the course of the weekend, 4 races, sorry, over the course of the weekend, we've had 8 races over the course of this weekend. The first 4, the standard points, the second 4, in total across the 2 divisions, the double points. So the Grand Marshal will very shortly be uttering those words. We have had some of the members of the media team doing it this weekend, looking at some of the banter on social media as to which member of the media team has been the best Grand Marshal so far this weekend. So I'm not quite sure who we're going to get this time and how much we'll actually hear of them, but certainly I think Andre, who was doing our interviews, was able to do it yesterday, and Gianluca, one of the media team members, was able to do it earlier on today for one of the races. So there's a lot of envious people that have always wanted to do it that haven't had the opportunity. So the grid now being cleared, and shortly there'll be that familiar rumble of those 5.7 litre V8 engines that produce around about 400 brake horsepower. And remember, it's pure racing. There's no electronic gizmos on these cars. It is down to the driver to control wheel spin by not putting your foot on the accelerator quite as hard. It's down to the driver to prevent the front wheels locking because there's no ABS on the cars, and it's down to the driver to control the slide as well because there's no electronic differentials or stability control systems on these cars. They are, in some respects, it sounds as though I'm being disparaging to them, but they are pure racing cars. They're quite agricultural.
Drivers, start your engines.
So there we go, the signal is given for the drivers to start their engines, which means that they all fire themselves up into life. 18 laps, 72.9 kilometres. Let's guide you through the grid. Number 24, Alan Day, starts on pole position, and alongside is the number 50 car of Loris Hasemans. Row 2 of the grid is 11, Stinis Longi for PK Carsport, and, number 18, which is Giorgio Maggi with his Hendricks Ford. The third row of the grid, we spoke to him, and the Villarino returning to the championship, non-point scoring at the wheel of his DF1 Marco Steep Motorsport Chevrolet. And alongside it's number 7, Olivier Hart, another non-championship scoring driver with his Hendricks Ford. Row number 4 of the grid, it's the Cal Racing Ford of Mark Goosens, number 98, alongside 89, which is Davide Delara for Not Only Motorsport with a Chevy. And row number 5 of the grid, it's number 1, Tomo Ferrando, back in the championship this weekend, having missed Koropnik. He's racing for Alex Caffey Motorsport stroke Race Art Technology. He is at the wheel of the number 1 Ford, and alongside him is the number 54 Cal Racing Chevy in the hands of Gianmarco Ercoli. The 6th row of the grid, only 11th for number 66, Lassie Sorensen, who was a race winner a couple of days ago at the wheel of his DF1 Racing Chevy. He's got work to do from there on the 6th row of the grid, and alongside him it is one of his teammates, number 99, Justin Kuntz, at the wheel of his DF1 Chevy. Row 7 of the grid, it's the Solaris Motorsport Chevy, number 12 of Francesco Cini, alongside number 6 for Feed Vic Racing, it's Patrick Lamery. The 8th row of the grid sees number 33, Mishu Motors and Luca Lasserre line up alongside the Feed Vic Racing Chevrolet Camaro of number 8, Dario Carzo, with row 9 of the grid being another driver making his debut in the series this weekend. Number 10, Alberto Panibianco for Not Only Motorsport with his Chevy lines up alongside number 31, which is Mauro Trione, who leads the challenger standings in the championship for amateur drivers that enter EuroNASCAR Pro Division. He is racing for Cal. And the final row of the grid is number 46, Yevgen Sokolovsky for Marco Steep Motorsport. We saw him claim top honours in the Legend Trophy, the EuroNASCAR 2 race earlier on. He's racing in every race this weekend, 8 races to get through for the Ukrainian. Alongside number 22, Nicola Rocca for DF1 Racing with his Chevy, who had all of his qualification times cancelled. He was not respecting the track limits, was the information that we were given. And as a result, I think he qualified originally, set the 4th quickest time, if memory serves me correctly, in the session, but that all of those times that he set in the half-an-hour qualifying session have all been scrubbed, and he starts off the back of the grid. And that means the number 22 car in the hands of the 26-year-old Italian has got a chunk of work to do, as Nicola Rocca. So there is Stinis Longi. He was on course for a win in the first of the races of the weekend, but the car had a clutch failure, which meant that he retired whilst leading by about 3 seconds he was at the time. He had a great race yesterday where he was leading for a good chunk of it, but his teammate Alan Day for PK Carsport eventually snuck through and went on to grab the win. So for Stinis Longines, he has had a bad day, a bad race, and then a good race. Let's hope that he has consistently good races for the 2 remaining races that are coming up this race, and then later on we will have another 18-lap affair. And remember, the championship gets decided. Mathematically, it can't be done in this race, but certainly if you have a good race and other drivers around you maybe have a poor race, you put yourself in a very, very strong position for race 2 later on today. Well, they're just going to have a few more corners and then we'll be away and racing, because they're getting themselves into neat 2x2 order. Alan Day with the black car with the green numbers on it is there on the right hand side of your screen. The black car with the Dutch flag down the centre of it for Loris Hazemans is sitting alongside. Row 2 of the grid, it's sort of blue and silver and day glow for Stinis Longines alongside the largely black and red and white number 18 of Giorgio Maggi. So the safety car will peel its way into the pit lane, and as it turns right and into the pit lane, then it's up to Alan Day and Loris Hazemans to control the pace. Buckle up everybody for the penultimate time this year in EuroNASCAR Pro Division. We are about to get the race underway. Red lights are on, they go green, and we're away and racing. Alan Day and Loris Hazemans matching each other for pace, understandably, on the charge off the line. Everybody else behind slowly branching out and trying to pick the piece of tarmac that they want, but Alan Day will lead the pack up towards Asper for the first time. Loris Hazemans slots himself through into second position. Giorgio Maggi and Stinis Longines side by side for third and fourth position. Stinis Longines brakes as late as he dare. He's going to try and sneak up the inside of Loris Hazemans. He's got Olivier Hart right behind him at the wheel of the number 7, pushing him along as well, but everybody is safely through the first corner or so as they charge their way through turn number 3 and up towards turn number 4 already. Alan Day converting pole position to the early race lead, and Loris Hazemans going with him in the early stages. Out of turn number 5, up the hill and in towards Aniel Nieto, which is turn number 6. Little bits of bodywork or rubber just bouncing down the circuit there, but everybody for the moment is fairly trouble-free as they head up towards Curva de la Afición, and we're already starting to see some people trying to get the overlap here on the run in towards the braking area for Bernard Martinez, which is turn number 8, but it's still out front. Alan Day leads the race for PK Carsport. Hendricks Motorsport, the number 50 of Loris Hazemans, still there in second position, and third at the moment is Giorgio Maggi, who's there in third place, and I think it might be Olivier Hart who's up into fourth position. Didn't quite catch the car at the tail end of the shot. It is, yeah, it's Olivier Hart that has managed to sneak his way through up into fourth position, so a really good start from Dutchman. Braking area for Adrian Campos. This is final corner, so the first lap is very shortly about to be completed. Olivier Hart gets run out wide there coming out of the corner. That's going to drop him back behind if he's not careful. Mark Goossens, who's looking to try and pull a move on him. There might be a little bit of damage to the front end of the number 7. Just having a quick look. Yes, there is, isn't there? Yeah, there's a bit of damage to that front right-hand corner. So Mark Goossens is going to sneak through, and behind him is Gianmarco Ercoli. Olivier Hart runs really, really, really wide coming out of turn number 1. Has to be careful he doesn't do that too many occasions, otherwise he will get a penalty. So it's Olivier Hart, Mark Goossens, Gianmarco Ercoli, Tomo Ferrando, then the number 66 car of Lasse Sorensen starting to make progress. So started the race in 11th, did Lasse Sorensen at the wheel of the number 66 car. He's brought that DF1 Racing Chevy up to 9th at the end of the first lap, 2 places gained, and he's now gained another as well. So watch out for the big Dane. He will charge his way through the order without question. How far can he get up the order is the mute point. 18 laps in which to do it. We have seen him in EuroNASCAR 2 win a race from the very back of the grid. He did that at Brands Hatch in 2018, started at the back after problems, came through and claimed the win. So Mark Goossens just making sure he doesn't allow Tomo Ferrando the opportunity to go through. Tomo Ferrando briefly running side by side with Lasse Sorensen, but Sorensen drops back behind again by the time they head out of turn number 8. Up towards the right-hander at 9. They'll turn right again at turn 10 and 11. And then start to flick their way alongside the start-finish straight before they then turn through the very fast third gear, Champieros, which is turn number 12. Alan Day leading from Loris Hazemans, Giorgio Maggi in third, Olivier Hart fourth, Mark Goossens and Gianmarco Ercoli wrap up the top 6. The leading junior driver in the field for those under 25 is in third place at the moment, Giorgio Maggi, and the leading challenger driver, the leading amateur in reality, is in 8th position, number 89, Davide Dallara. So 2 laps now completed. The top 3 just starting to get away a little bit from the 4th place car of Olivier Hart, who has got that little bit of bodywork just rubbing on the tyre. When the speed builds up, the bodywork folds back a bit more, and you could just see little bits of smoke coming off that front corner. Now, Thomas Ferrando's got the overlap on Mark Goossens here, and Lasse Sorensen might try and go through as well. No, Ferrando goes through, takes the place away from the number 98 Cal Racing Ford of Mark Goossens. So that is Goossens now 7th. Lasse Sorensen will be in 8th place. Davide Dallara is 9th. Justin Kuntz, Luca Lasserre, Francesco Cini, they're all in this big queue of cars. And what a queue it is. It's being headed, really, by Olivier Hart. That battered Ford maybe is just holding everybody up behind at the moment, because, of course, he's lost a bit of the aerodynamics of his car. He'll have certainly lost a little bit of the handling of it as well. But if he gets cleanly off the corners, then he should be able to hang on to a half-decent position in this race. You can see, yeah, that front right corner, isn't it, that's just the cause for concern. So that's allowing the top 3 to really disappear up the road. Davide Dallara made a bit of a mistake there, heading out of Bernard Martinez. So that's going to drop him further away from this little pack. He didn't lose a position, he just ran wide and raised the dust. That now has dropped him back into the clutches of the cars that were behind him. Through turn 13, Lasse Sorensen looking as though he's trying to tee up a move here on Mark Goossens as they head up towards turn number 14. No change of order there. Back out of the corner onto the 650 metres straight again. Somebody getting run very wide was Justin Kuntz at the wheel of the re-liveried number 99 DF1 Racing Chevy. The white car with its pink and its purple flashes for this weekend. So is that going to cost Justin Kuntz a position? He is still in 11th position by the look of things. The other car that we perhaps just need to catch up on is the progress of Nicola Rocca, because remember, he had all of his times squashed after qualifying and has had to carve his way up through the order from the back of the grid. He's up to 12th position. Safety cars coming out is the news that we hear. We saw briefly the yellow flag, localised yellow flag, but we are going full course caution, and I'm wondering if that might be for poor old Stinis Longines. Ah, right, okay, there's a puncture there for Mauro Trione. That is a car that is limping its way back round in towards the pit lane. He's had a bit of a rotten weekend, really, Mauro Trione. I do wonder what's happened to Stinis Longines as well, because his car disappeared very early on in this race, and we've not seen it on the cameras at all, so I'm not quite sure where the number 11 PK Car Sport Chevy is, but it is not circulating as far as I'm aware. But I can't tell you any more than that. The production team out there in Spain, due to travel restrictions, I'm based in the UK for this one, and the news we have from Valencia is that the car of Stinis Longines went out at turn 3 on lap number 1 and is behind the barriers. So that is what's happened to poor old Stinis Longines, and that's an enormous shame for him. I said he had a good race and a bad race over the course of this weekend. Well, it looks it's another bad one for him. Really just hasn't had the luck this weekend. So safety car waiting to scoop up the pack, which gives me the perfect opportunity to guide you through the order that they are on circuit. There might be a little bit of reordering needs doing once we get the safety car deployed, but for the moment, Alan Day leads number 24 for PK Car Sport. Second is the leading Ford that we have in the field, the number 50 car of Loris Hazemans, and third is for Hendricks Motorsport, Giorgio Maggi, the number 18 car. Fourth, it's another Hendricks car, number 7, Olivier Hart. Fifth is 54, Gianmarco Ercoli. So at the moment, Giorgio Maggi leads the junior trophy. Olivier Hart is second in it, and Ercoli is third. And sixth place is another junior driver, so fourth in the junior category for number 1, Thomas Ferrando. Seventh at the moment is 98 Mark Goossens. Eighth is 66 Lasse Sorensen. Ninth is 89 Davide Dallara. He is still comfortably leading the Challenger Trophy at this stage. Very comfortably leading it, I've got to say. Even more so because of the problems that have also befallen Mauro Trione, who was the leader in the Challenger Trophy. So that is not going to do his championship aspirations much good at all. And then after Davide Dallara, Nicola Rocca completes the top 10, got himself up into 10th before the safety car, but I think there might be a bit of a reordering and he might lose a place or two again. 11th is 33 Luca Lasserre, 12th is number 12, conveniently enough, which is Francesco Cini. 13th is 99 Justin Kuntz, 14th is Patrick Lamery, only 15th at the moment for Ander Villarino, which tends to suggest having started 5th, that there is probably more cause for concern than even he expected with the back axle on that car, because he's lost 10 places from his starting position, a driver who has already won on 6 previous occasions at this track. 16th is Dario Carzo, 17th is Alberto Panebianco, 18th is Yevgen Sokolovsky, 19th is the car that limped its way with that front right puncture into the pit lane, Mauro Trione, and we know, sadly, of the fate of Stinis Longines, which was retirement at turn 3 on lap 1. So he did not even get a lap in. So I think the way the championship points work is that he will score 10 points less than the less classified finisher. So it's not going to be a great points haul for Stinis Longines. So at best, with what, 1, 2, 3 non-championship drivers in the field, that would move him up to, the last finisher would be 16th. 16th to get 42 points. I think it'd probably be 32 points is what Stinis Longines would get for this. So that is going to drop him away almost out of contention really for the championship now. He was 41 points adrift, and he is going to lose out big time to whoever wins this race. So mathematically it might still be possible for him, but realistically now he's going to need the stars more than aligned if he wants to try and lift the championship title. So bitter disappointment for Stinis. So cars are now onto their 5th lap of the race, still weaving to try and maintain that tyre temperature. They'll be on and off the brakes as well to make sure that they maintain plenty of brake temperature. Remember, if you weren't watching earlier on as well, or over the course of the weekend, limited to the amount of tyres that they can use. Everybody runs on the general tyre, is the manufacturer that supports this series and has done for a couple of seasons now, and all of the drivers in this category for their qualifying session that took place yesterday were given just 2 brand new tyres, and those 2 brand new tyres have to see them through the 30-minute qualifying, through this 18-lap race, and through the other 18-lap race. So 2 brand new tyres to do all of that, which means that the other 2 have already been used in the other races we've had over the course of this weekend. So you are very much limited and restricted on tyres. General produce a fantastic tyre. Their technical people have worked with Team FJ, and lots of testing has been done to tweak the tyre since they first became involved in the series. So it offers good levels of grip, but also durability as well, because you need a tyre that's going to last you for a good few races, bearing in mind the amount of time that they are bolted to the car whilst it's flying around the track. So and all of it is done, of course, to keep costs down, to try and reduce costs. That you can't just throw sets of tyres at the car for every single race. Everybody is on the same sets of tyres, everybody has the same limitations, and therefore it all largely comes down to driver ability and the driver's ability to work with the engineers to set the car up as they want it. So safety car will be in at the end of this lap. I think it might be the first time we've seen a safety car in... No, we had a safety car in one of yesterday's races, I think. So we haven't seen much of the safety car needed for the EuroNASCAR Pro Division. And as they head down the straight, that's where they'll get themselves into 2x2 order again before too much longer. So there we go, through Championeros, which is turn number 12. Climbing uphill to the highest point of the circuit almost now, not quite. I think Curve de l'Aviation and Bernard Martinet are very slightly higher than this part of the circuit, but it's towards one of the higher points of the circuit. Mauro Trione's back out with a new wheel bolted onto the number 31 Cal Racing machine, but he is now off the lead lap, unfortunately. He is now a lap adrift, the number 31 car. So safety car is going to head in towards the pit lane. Alan Day and Loris Hasemans are going to do it again. They're going to be side by side up towards the finish line. So 2 lines of 2 cars, and they will then have to stay in those lines until they get to the start finish line. The green flag will wave any second now. We're away and racing once more in the penultimate race of the season for the EuroNASCAR Pro Division, and it is going to be Alan Day again who is leading the charge up towards Asper, which is the first corner. Loris Hasemans has to brave it out around the outside, 3 wide further back. That got rather close as well. Gianmarco Ercli, Giorgio Maggi and others are all running 3 wide through what was turn number 1. That was rather brave, to say the least. But it's Alan Day that leads. Loris Hasemans trying to get the overlap up towards turn number 3, but the Israeli driver will be having none of that. So it's the 2 times champion ahead of the reigning champion at this stage, with Olivier Hart, who makes his debut in the series and has been hugely impressive so far this weekend, sitting there in 3rd position. So they charge their way up towards Aniel Nieto. which is turn number 6, second gear, accelerate and shift up to third as you head out of the corner. Loris Hasemans runs a little bit wide coming out of turn 6, flat out through turn number 7. You're still only in third gear though at this point. He only used fourth over the start-finish line really. Nicola Rocca still looking to try and carve his way up through the order. He is looking to squeeze past Giorgio Maggi here. So Maggi must have had an awful restart. He was in third position, and I think he's going to be down towards the bottom of the top 10 by the look of things. So must have had a mistake or a little bit of contact, or just run very, very wide heading out of turn 1. Didn't quite see it, but Maggi, the number 18 car, is way down through the order. Nicola Rocca running side by side with him and driving his way around the outside. Nicola Rocca, Giorgio Maggi absolutely going backwards. He's now under attack from 2 more cars, the first of which is Justin Kuntz, the next of which was scheduled to have tried to work his way through, but Mauro Trioni's trying to get past all of them. He might be a lap down, but he's trying to work his way back up through the order, and somebody is diving for the pit lane, and I think I know who that might be, I'm afraid to say. We'll just wait for the car to be confirmed as in the pit lane. It looked like Tomo Ferrando to me, so I'll have to wait and see whether that was indeed the case. Yes, it was. Yeah, it was number 1, Tomo Ferrando, that dived for the pit lane. I thought it looked like his car in the background, and that is big, big disappointment for Tomo, the former EuroNASCAR 2 champion from 2017. So, approaching the half-distance lap very shortly. Mark Goossens under pressure from Gianmarco Ercoli. This is the fight for 4th and 5th position. Goossens 51 years of age nowadays. Nicola Rocca still trying to carve his way through the order. Oh, a little bit of a tap between himself and Francisco Cini unsettles the Solaris Motorsport car. That is Patrick Lamery, I'm afraid to say, that's had an issue. And for Francisco Cini, that little tap has caused a little bit of body rub as well on his car. It's also allowed Giorgio Maggi to go through. So Nicola Rocca goes through. Giorgio Maggi works his way through. So Francisco Cini is going to drop from 9th to 11th place on this lap. So Rocca is now up inside the top 10, having started in 20th position. Now remember, there are 8 championship points available for the driver that, from starting position to finishing position, gains the most places. I suspect I know for the moment where those 8 points are going, comfortably in the direction of Nicola Rocca, I would have thought. But this is the fight for final podium spot. Olivier Hart, followed by Mark Goossens, then under attack from Gianmarco Ercoli. So the Dutchman, the Belgian, and then the Italian, all together for 3rd, 4th and 5th position. You can still see that little bit of body rub on the number 7 car. Doesn't seem to have got any worse. The smoke in the background is Francisco Cini's little bit of body rub as well, following the tap from Nicola Rocca. This is Luca Lasser under attack from Lassie Sorensen, and didn't put up a great deal of defence there really. Let Lassie go through. Lassie is now up into 6th position, that will be. So a good charge from 11th to 6th for the number 66 car in the hands of the driver who claimed the EuroNASCAR 2 championship last year and stepped up to full-time EuroNASCAR Pro this year. Remember, he was a race winner as well earlier on this weekend. That was on top of the race winner he took in the 2nd of the 2 races at the NASCAR Grand Prix of Belgium at Zolder. How far up can the number 66 Chevy get in the remaining 9 laps? Because this is now the half-distance lap. 9 gone, 9 to go. Flicking their way out of Bernard Martinez up towards the unnamed turn number 9 and 10. And then towards the right-hander at 11. Alan Day still comfortably leading the race. Well, I say comfortably, he's still just 0.8 of a second up the road from Loris Hasemans, so there's not a huge amount of daylight between the pair of them. Olivier Hart in the number 7 car there, bouncing off the curbs in 3rd position, but he's still got this queue of cars sitting behind him. First of which is Gianmarco Ercoli, the next of which is the 98 Ford of Mark Goossens, and then the charging number 66 Chevy of Lassie Sorensen, who lies 2nd in the championship standings, Lassie Sorensen. So the number 66 car really needs to keep picking off the people ahead of him. Lassie will ideally want to try and close the gap on the championship leader in this race. Well, for the moment, the championship leader, Alan Day, leads the race overall, and Lassie Sorensen is still trying to make up for that poor qualifying session. We got past that car last time through. Luca Lasser, is he now going to attack the number 98 car in the hands of Mark Goossens? Former Formula Ford Festival winner at Brands Hatch, Mark Goossens. That is 20 years ago now, 1991. Goose won the Formula Ford Festival. Multiple Bell Car champion as well, and has raced lots of times over in the States as well, in the likes of the IMSA Sports Car Championships, as they've been, and at Le Mans as well. His single-seater career took him not to Formula 1, but it did take him up to Formula 3000, Mark Goossens. But he was a driver that never quite got the break for Formula 1. So he's under pressure from Lasse Sorensen, the number 66 car sniffing around. The Chevy is not going to attack this time up towards turn number 8, but he's going to get as close as he can to the tail end of the number 98 Deardala supported Ford. Mark, who was a regular in the Brax team for a good number of years. Brax no longer racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. So moving over to Cal for this year. And again, maybe just hasn't quite had the results that he would have wanted, Mark Goossens. He's had seconds and thirds and fourths, but the win has been a little bit elusive for him so far this year. At the moment, he's still under pressure, isn't he, in 5th place all of the time. So, battered car of Olivier Hart has not got any worse. From body rub, has not got any worse at all. And looking at the performance of the car, it's not really affecting its performance. You just see again that little puff of smoke. The faster the car gets, the more the bodywork folds back into the tyre, and it just, when it reaches maximum speed, just starts to puff a little bit of smoke out, so it will be wearing the tyre back into the pit lane. That looks like that's Mauro Trioni back in again, I would say. Already having had damage on that front corner. I think they've taped it up, and he's damaged it again somehow. So the fight for 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th turning its way through turn number 11, I think that was. Yeah, up towards Champieros, I think they'll be heading now. And Olivier Hart, no, it wasn't, that was up towards turn number 6 they're heading now, which is Aniel Nieto. So Olivier Hart doing a good job of keeping the cars behind him, actually. And actually, if anything, he's closing in on Loris Hazemans. Loris Hazemans has started to, I think, ease his pace a little bit and is dropping back into the clutches of the cars that lie behind. Alan Day is romping up the road. Hazemans runs wide. There must be a problem with that car. Is Loris Hazemans going to be destined for the pit lane? No, he's going to stick it out still. But Loris Hazemans is losing places hand over fist at this stage. There must be a problem with the number 50 Hendricks Ford, because through has gone Olivier Hart, through has gone Gianmarco Ercoli, and Loris Hazemans didn't exactly make it difficult for them either. So Ercoli bounces off the curbs. Lasse Sorensen's also now gone through and ahead of Loris Hazemans. And Olivier Hart is a busy chap at this stage, trying to hang on to what is now 2nd position. So this is the fight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and almost 7th, isn't it? Big train of cars. Black and white warning flag for number 50. Well, Loris Hazemans must have gone beyond the circuit limits one too many times. Now he's already dropping down through the order. Equally now needs to be even more cautious, and he's losing further places. Looks as though Nicola Rocca has gone through that time. So Hazemans, I think, is now down into 7th position for the driver who lies 3rd in the championship standings. Remember, he is the reigning champion as well. So disappointment for him in this race. Not a lot he can do about it. Just got to keep pressing on. 6 laps away from the finish after the one that they are on at the moment. And for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th places, a big train of cars being headed by the number 7 car of Gianmarco Ercoli. And at the back of the queue now, it looks as though it is the number 33 car of Luca Lasser. In fact, no, it's Nicola Rocca that's at the back of the queue, the number 22. So up towards turn 8, Bernard Martinev. Then downhill the circuit starts to drop away. Very easy to run wide coming out of that corner because it's sort of an adverse camber. So it drops away whilst you're still turning the car, and the car wants to run out automatically wide. So just need to be careful that you don't run too wide there. Flat out down the straight and up towards Champieros. Looks as though Tomo Ferrando's race is run. He is in the pit lane and going no further. He's not the only one. Ander Villarino's in the pit lane. I think we've got Alberto Panebianco in the pit lane as well. We saw Mauro Trioni heading back into the pit lane. Now Lasse Sorensen is on a charge here. He's got himself ahead of Gianmarco Ercoli on this lap. So up to 3rd position now for Lasse Sorensen. Gianmarco Ercoli down into 4th position, and Sorensen is now setting his sights about the next car up the road. Now, Olivier Hart is non-championship scoring, so even if the number 66 DF1 Racing Chevy stays where it is, Lasse Sorensen would still pick up the points for finishing in second position. But knowing Lasse, he will want to get through and ahead of that car, and then we'll want to see if he can do anything about closing the gap down on Alan Day over the course of the next few laps. But at the moment, 6.5 seconds is what Alan Day leads the number 7 car by. So Lasse Sorensen destined to hopefully pick up the points for second place, which more than keeps the championship alive heading in towards the final race that takes place later on this afternoon. Quite a short gap as well between the races. The teams will only get about an hour to service the cars, again repair them and get them ready to head back out on the build up to the final championship race of the season. And is Lasse Sorensen going to be able to do anything about Olivier Hart? Not just as yet. Olivier finished 10th in the first race of the weekend. He finished 11th in the second race of the weekend. He had a 10-second penalty in the first race. He did actually finish a little bit higher up, was given a penalty for going beyond the circuit limits and forcing another car out off the track in the first of the races. He got a 5-second penalty for track limits in the second race. So he's been quick, but he's just been a little bit inconsistent, and I gather they're also going to have a look at the race footage and see whether there has been further transgressions in this one because of the damage to the front end of the number 7 car. So we'll have to wait and see, but remember, he's non-championship point scoring anyway, Olivier Hart. So Lasse Sorensen can afford, if he wants to, just sit behind and know full well that he's still going to pick up points for second position in the championship. But unfortunately, even if he's second, that is still going to extend the championship lead for Alan Day heading into the final race of the season, because he continues to lead the lead advantage, 6.5 seconds. Now this is Nicola Rocca fighting away with Mark Goossens. This is going to be for 6th and 7th places. Nicola having got through and ahead of the 98 Ford on this lap. So Rocca now up into 6th place. Remember, he started 20th on the grid, so it's been a real good charge. Oh, car sliding around there though, lots of opposite lock mid-corner as he pitched the car in. The rear tyres started to break away. You could see the black marks, they were leaving Rocca, so having gained the place, wouldn't surprise me Mark Goossens has taken it back again, because that was a bit of a slidey moment. No, he's hung on to it, but only just by the skin of his teeth, I would have thought there. The man who was based in Turin, lives in the Channel Islands, I think, nowadays, Nicola Rocca. So they're on lap number 14, about to start lap number 15. Alan Day, the number 24 car, still leading the race. Olivier Hart, the leading junior driver that we have in the race, running in 2nd place. Leading the Challenger Trophy at the moment is down in 9th position, which is number 89, Davide Dallara. So down the straight up towards Champieros they go. Olivier Hart and Lasse Sorensen bouncing over the sausage curb on the inside. Need to be careful you don't take too much curb at that point, because if you bounce it over the sausage curb too much, it really unsettles the car. What is a very quick corner and just forces you out wide on the exit, and then you lose all of the momentum through turn number 13 and into the braking area for turn 14. So you've got to be careful that you take enough curb but not too much at that point of the circuit. Down the 650 metres straight they will thread their way again. Olivier Hart still under pressure from Lasse Sorensen. The yellow car in the background is Gianmarco Ercoli. The all black car is the number 33 Mitsubishi Motors car of double former champion Luca Lasser. Luca having won this championship back-to-back seasons in 2009, 2010, and this is Mark Goossens. Every lap Mark Goossens has either been in attack mode or defence mode. It's the latter at this stage, because he is trying to keep the Swiss driver, runner-up in the EuroNASCAR 2 championship last year, Giorgio Maggi, behind him. So Mark Goossens has had a busy old race, really, the Goose. So 3 laps to go after the one that they are on. Up towards Anil Nieto, they'll head for the 15th time in this race. And still battles to be resolved over the course of the next few laps. Olivier Hart always seems to have just had enough space between himself and the number 66 car of Lasse Sorensen. So I do wonder whether Lasse is just being, in conjunction with the information from his spotter, just thinking, well, okay, even if I get past this car, it's not going to gain me any more championship points. Alan Day is 6 seconds up the lead, so I'm never going to catch him. I may as well do the sensible thing, save the car a little bit, save the tyres, more importantly, a little bit, and sit behind. And as long as I sit behind, I'm still going to pick up the points per second anyway, and we can bring the fight to Alan in the final championship race later on today. I think that's the mindset that Lasse, in conjunction with his spotter, are working to now. And for me, that is a fairly sensible approach to be having. So there comes Alan Day over the start-finish line. In the background of the shot, you can see the fight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, all coming over the start-finish line. But Alan Day is not that many laps away now from potentially lifting the race-winning trophy for the 24th time in his career. he was tied on 22 all-time wins at the top of the all-time winners list with Ander Villarino at the beginning of this Valencia Super Speed Week. Well, at the moment, he is now on 23 wins. The most winningest driver we've ever had in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and the 29-year-old Israeli is only, a couple of laps away, really, from going to victory lane for the 24th time. Olivier Hart has driven his socks off to try and hang on to second place. Lasse Sorensen, I said I thought he might have given up, but he seems to be back in attack mode again at the moment. So maybe he's been given the hurry up from the spotter again, just because the cars behind are beginning to close him. So it's Chevy that leads, Ford second, Chevy third. It is in fourth place, one of the cars that are badged as EuroNASCAR FJs for this year. Black and white flags going out for two cars as well. So the number 18 car receiving the black and white flag, that looked like, and 89 was the other one, which is Davide De Lara, who needs to be careful here actually that he doesn't lose out with a penalty, because he leads the Challenger Trophy. The 18 car, of course, being Giorgio Maggi. So through the next corner, which is Champieros, I think they'll be heading to now, and Alan Day is now safely working his way onto his penultimate lap of the race. So Alan Day leading. Right there is Nicola Rocca. Now what's happened to Nicola Rocca? He was running in 6th position. Looks like a puncture potentially for that car, Nicola Rocca. So he's perhaps just pushed the tyres a little bit too hard in this one, and it's cost him dear all of that hard work to work his way up from 20th on the grid. And the number 22 DF1 Racing car off the tarmac there and limping its way back round the circuit, I think. Such a shame for him. Now, the grid for the final race, of course, is set based on fastest laps from this race. And at the moment, the fastest lap of the race, I'm just looking down through the order. We've got 1 minute 42s from a few drivers. It looks as though it is Alan Day. 1 minute 42.013 for Alan Day is the fastest lap of the race. And I think joining him potentially on the front row of the grid is going to be Loris Hasemans with a 1 minute 42.052, but it all looks rather close at this stage for the front row of the grid, because Giorgio Maggi has also had a quick lap. He's a 1 minute 42.1, so just a little bit slower than the leading pair. So I think the front row for the final will be the same as the front row we had for this race. So working their way through. Oh, right, there is Nicola Rocca. Yeah, it's his front right-hand puncture, and he is really struggling with that car. They're on their penultimate lap of the race. Olivier Hart still doing good things at the wheel of the slightly battered Ford, Hendricks Motorsport Ford, and has done well to keep the 2019 EuroNASCAR 2 champion Lasse Sorensen behind him. But Sorensen's charge from 11th on the grid to 3rd is going to net him a good haul of points, as the unfortunate Nicola Rocca limped the 22 with its front right puncture into the pit lane. So on to the final lap of the race in this penultimate race of the season for the EuroNASCAR Pro Division. Alan Day flicking his way over the start-finish line and about to do another 4 kilometres or 2.5 miles before potentially he heads towards victory lane. Olivier Hart will finish second in the race, but Lasse Sorensen will pick up the points for second, because Olivier Hart can enjoy the podium celebrations, but he won't pick up the championship points that are associated with it. He is non-scoring from a champion perspective for this weekend. But that man there, Alan Day, is about to extend his championship lead, and we've still got fights going on. Number 54, Gianmarco Ercoli, has come back under attack again from Mark Goossens in the closing stages of this race. So Olivier Hart, Lasse Sorensen, Luca Lasser, Gianmarco Ercoli, Mark Goossens, then that looks like Giorgio Maggi that sits behind, all working their way up towards Aniel Nieto, which is turn number 6, the left-hander. Trundling his way back down pit lane came Nicola Rocca there, you could see. So they've put a fresh tyre on that front right corner, and they'll get him out to score at least some championship points, but all of the damage has been done really for poor old Nicola Rocca. And I actually think the extra 4 championship points for the most places gained now, or extra 8 as it will be in this race, will go the way of Lasse Sorensen. So I actually think Alan Day will score 80, but I think Lasse Sorensen will score 78. I think. That's just me trying to work out, because Nicola Rocca was going to get those 8 points. He's now dropped all the way back down through the order, and Sorensen has come from 11th to 3rd. So I think the championship gap is only going to be 16 points heading into the final race. So Alan Day turns his way out of Adrian Campos. The final corner, the checkered flag awaits the Israeli driver, who is going to come over the start-finish line and claim yet another win. His second win of the weekend for Alan Day. That makes it 4 wins for the season now, and means that he will head into the final race of the season on 365 points. Olivier Hart finishes in second position and is the leading junior driver home, but Lasse Sorensen, as Olivier Hart is non-championship scoring, finishes in third place, will pick up the points for second, and I think, subject to confirmation, he will also pick up those extra 8 championship points for gaining the most places from his starting position to his finishing position. So if that's the case, there are just 16 championship points separating Alan Day from Lasse Sorensen heading into the final race of the season, with 80 points on offer for a race win. So it is more than still to play for in this one. Cars working their way around the circuits. The leading challenger driver has just taken the checkered flag as well. That was Davide De Lara. So that is for the challenger trophy is for amateur drivers that enter the EuroNASCAR Pro Championship, and Davide De Lara claimed the win in that from Dario Carzo and Yevgen Sokolovsky. In the junior trophy, it was Olivier Hart from Lasse Sorensen and Gianmarco Ercoli, but I'll give you a full rundown of the order once we've got all of the cars back in towards victory lane, where Andre will be poised once more to have a chat to our race winner, Alan Day. And if you joined us for the final race of the season for EuroNASCAR 2, I can confirm that we are hoping again for the final race for these guys later on to hang around to bring you the podiums, both for the race and for the championship as well. We will try and bring you those confirmations that will give you when we boot up the live stream in advance of that final race that's coming up later on today. So 24 career wins now for Alan Day. He is twice a champion. Ander Villarino is the most successful driver in terms of championships. He's claimed 3 championships in total, but Alan Day has taken a step closer to matching him in that department as well now, with now just one more race to go, leading the championship, not by many points, but with a pole position as well from him. Lasse Sorensen's fastest lap was about 0.4 of a second slower than Alan Day's. So I'm just having a quick look to see where Lasse Sorensen might line up on the grid as I gaze my way through all of the times, and I think Lasse Sorensen will be 4th on the grid for the final. I think he set the 4th quickest time when at 42.4, and no, I think he'd be 3rd on the grid. Yep, 3rd on the grid is he. Yes, very slightly quicker than Nicola Rocca's time, so yeah, I think he'll be 3rd on the grid, Lasse Sorensen, so he won't have the hard work to do to the same degree as he's just done, hauling the car up from 11th. He will, however, still start behind his main championship rival, which means the pressure is on because he's got to finish ahead of Alan Day in the final race. If he finishes behind him, then it's all done and dusted. He's got to get through and ahead of that number 24 car. So it is in his hands to do so, but Alan Day, who will be starting ahead of him, ain't going to make it easy. That's absolutely for sure. So the Heinz Performance, Monster Energy backed, PK Car Sport prepared Chevrolet Camaro of Alan Day heads into victory lane. You can see what that means to Alan Day. Already the gloves are off and his fist is clenched with just delight at the fact that he has taken another step towards making sure that he claims that championship. He's been saying to Andre all weekend, not thinking about the championship, taking it race by race by race. Well, there's only one race to take now, and that is going to be the most important one of the season. So Alan Day, hand in the air, and big delight on the face of the Israeli driver, who said during this pandemic period he's been living in Belgium, not in his native Israel, but he's been living in Belgium, but because he's been away from home, there hasn't been a great deal else to do other than concentrate on his fitness. So he's been working really hard to build his race fitness. Hugely focused driver is Alan Day. And for a man who's seen racing in the Monster Energy Series, as it was in the Xfinity, he's done camping trucks as well. He will hope that another championship might allow him to have other opportunities on the other side of the Atlantic and race with some of the other series in the NASCAR family as such. So off has come the crash helmet, on goes the mask, and we will, I think, very shortly be able to grab a quick word with Alan Day. We'll let him grab a drink first, and then Alan Day, our race winner, will be talking to Andre, take another step towards the championship. Just one more race to go, and will be coming up later on. So let's hear from the race winner.
With the We're here with the race winner, Alan Day. 1 to go. Just talk us through the race.
Sorry. Well, it was a tough one at the beginning. It's a bummer to lose my my teammate that was behind me. I think it could be an amazing result like yesterday for the team, but I don't know what happened. Besides that, everything went well. Loris gave me some pressure. I don't know what happened to him, but suddenly he disappeared. But the moment he disappeared, I just realized there is another race, and it's not tomorrow. It's in a few hours, I guess. So the moment he disappeared, I decided to save the tires and save the brakes and everything for the next race. I don't know what is the calculation right now, but still 50% of the job done. It's nice to win, but it's ain't over yet.
All right, thank you very much. Your winner, Alan Day.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, Alan Day, absolutely right. It's not over yet, and he doesn't know what the calculation is. Neither do I at this stage. Neither do I, I've got to say. What I do know is that Alan Day would have picked up 80 points for the win. Lasse Sorensen will pick up 70 points for second place. I actually do still think he will have picked up the 8 championship points for gaining the most places as well, because of the fate that befell Nicola Rocca towards the end. So Nicola Rocca's disappointment in his DF1 racing car actually hands another DF1 racing driver a greater opportunity. Maybe we'll have to wait and see as to whether he does pick up those extra 8 championship points. We'll certainly know exactly what the score was. Quick replay of what has happened over the course of this race. Well, of course, it was Alan Day and Loris Hazemans that led the pack up towards Asper, the first corner, but Alan Day had the inside line, and the pole sitter was always going to try and nudge ahead, and he was just able to do so. There was great fights going on further back down through the order all of the time, whilst the number 66 DF1 racing car of Lasse Sorensen was trying to thread his way up after a poor qualifying session yesterday. Saw him line up 11th on the grid. As for Tomo Ferrando, he was busy having a great little fight with the car of Mark Goossens all of the time, whilst Lasse Sorensen was still just picking off the cars and working his way through the order. Problems for Mauro Trioni, saw him link round with a front right-hand puncture and damage to the number 31 Cal Racing car for the man who is leading the Challenger standings. Safety car was brought out very briefly. Incidents and debris were cleared. We were able to get the race back underway, and once again, it was Alan Day that led the pack round through the first corner. We were briefly 3 wide at the restart, heading round through turn number 1. But normal service was resumed as far as Alan Day was concerned. He was ahead of Loris Hazemans all of the time, whilst Olivier Hart, the young Dutchman, was able to slot himself through in a solid performance in 3rd position. Problems then for the number 50 Ford saw Loris Hazemans start to fall away. Olivier Hart went through, Gianmarco Ercoli went through, and it didn't get any better from there for the reigning EuroNASCAR Pro champion. He was slowly picked off by everybody else. Once Alan Day had known that was the problem, and that disappearing in his mirrors was Loris Hazemans, as he said to Andre, he just eased the pace, he saved the tyres, he saved the car, he saved the brakes, because he knows that even with that win, he has only done 50% of the job that he needs to do. He has gone to victory lane for the 24th time in his NASCAR Whelen Euro Series career, and, as we say, is now in the lead of the championship and has just widened the gap very, very slightly between himself and Lasse Sorensen before they go into the final race of the season in just a couple of hours' time. So there's not much time to get some more fluids on board, to get the cars serviced, for the drivers to relax for a very short while, and then start to focus again on the task that still lies ahead. The job is not done. The championship is still alive, and we've only got one more ending lap race to go. So it's all still to play for in what has been a great super speed week at Izzy's Badged in Valencia. I'll just run down through the results for you. Alan Day claims the win, and in second place, the leading junior driver home was Olivier Hart. Third went the way of Lasse Sorensen, with Luca Lasser in 4th place. Gianmarco Ercoli and Mark Goossens completed the top 6. Giorgio Maggi was 7th. 8th was Justin Kuntz. 9th was Davide Dallara, so he was the leading challenger driver home for the amateur drivers, and completing the top 10 was Francisco Cini. Then it was Dario Carzo. Loris Hazemans dropped down to 12th in the end in the race. Patrick Lemery was there in 13th, Yevgen Sokolovsky 14th, and with his puncture and having moved from the back of the grid all the way up through the order, dropped back down to 15th, it was Nicola Rocca. Problems for Tomo Ferrando, he finished in 16th place and retiring in the pit lane, but classified as 17th was Ander Villarino ahead of Alberto Panebianco, Mauro Trioni, and the very unfortunate Stinis Longines, who did not even log a lap time as well, of course. and it's your lap time from this race that sets the grid for the final race. So Stinus Longines will be off the back of the grid, subject to official confirmation for the final. So we have got still one more race coming up over the course of the 2020 season, and what an important one it is, because we will be crowning a EuroNASCAR Pro champion later on today. If you want to join us for that one, please ensure you do. The stream goes live at 15:55. The stream goes live. The race is scheduled to get underway at 16:15 Central European time, which means if you're watching in America, stream goes live at 9:55 Eastern time in the US. Remember, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, youtube.com/EuroNASCAR, and ensure you click on the various links there so that you're notified as and when we add new content. So from all of the team out at Circuit Ricardo Tormo from the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and myself based in the UK because of travel restrictions, hope you enjoyed that race. Make sure you join us later on where we're going to crown a champion. Until then, goodbye.
Готов?